So on January 20th, 2026, EASA dropped Airworthiness Directive 2026-0014. Now, this is a pretty critical update for anyone operating the Airbus A340, dealing with both flight safety and, of course, regulatory compliance. In this explainer, we're going to give you a focused breakdown of exactly what this directive requires so you know what you need to do and why it's so important.
And here it is, the official directive itself. The first date you need to circle on your calendar is right there. February 3rd, 2026. That's the effective date. Think of it as the starting gun for every single timeline and deadline we're about to talk about. So, let's dive in and break down what this really means for your technical teams, for your planning, and for your day-to-day ops.
Okay, here's how we're going to break this all down for you. First, we'll cover the big picture and the why behind this whole thing. Then, we'll pinpoint exactly which aircraft are affected. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the required maintenance actions and the crucial paperwork changes. We'll also look at the impact on safety and operations. And we'll finish up with a clear, simple compliance summary.
All right, first up, why does this AD even exist? Let's get to the bottom of the mandate and the unsafe condition it's designed to prevent.
At its heart, this is all about keeping up with the times. Airbus is always refining its maintenance procedures to make things safer, and this Airworthiness Directive is the official way of making those updated, stricter tasks mandatory for everyone. It's really about making sure the entire A340 fleet is operating under the very latest and safest set of instructions.
Okay, there's a key phrase you're going to hear a lot, the variation. And trust me, this isn't just some boring technical term. It's the specific document, Variation 6.1, that contains all the new mandatory tasks. So when this AD tells you to do something, it's basically pointing your technical teams right to the instructions inside this document. It's their new Bible, their new source of truth.
And this quote right here, pulled straight from the directive, tells you everything you need to know about the stakes. This is not about just ticking a box for the sake of paperwork. EASA is being crystal clear. If you ignore these updated maintenance tasks, you are introducing a real and, frankly, unacceptable risk to the aircraft.
Okay, so we know why this is happening. Now let's talk about who it affects. Which specific aircraft are we talking about here? This is where every operator needs to lean in and listen closely.
This directive is aimed squarely at the A340, 200, and 300 series. So if your airline has any of these 6 specific models in its fleet, then congratulations, this AD applies directly to you.
And just to be crystal clear, this isn't for some specific batch of planes. The scope is wide open. It applies to all manufacturers' serial numbers of the models we just mentioned. It doesn't matter how old or new the aircraft is. If you've got an A340, 200, or 300, you're on the hook to comply. Period. Okay, now for the main event. What do your teams actually have to do? This is the playbook, the to-do list for your camo, your planning department, and your folks on the line. It really boils down to 3 main steps. First, get the new tasks from the variation done. Second, if you find anything, you have to fix it right away. And third, you need to get your official aircraft maintenance program updated. Let's break each of those down.
So this table spells out the hands-on work. Your techs will use the variation to perform all the new maintenance tasks, and they have to follow the new schedules. But that last part, that is the absolute game changer here. If an inspection turns up any kind of discrepancy, you are required to perform corrective action before the next flight. This rule can absolutely affect your schedule and could even ground an aircraft until that fix is officially signed off.
All right, we've talked about the hands-on stuff. Now let's get into the paperwork, which is just as important, the AMP revision. This is a big one, and it's got a hard deadline.
12 months. That's your deadline. You've got exactly 1 year from that February 3rd, 2026 effective date. And let me be clear, this is not a suggestion. It's a non-negotiable date to get your main maintenance documents updated.
So what does that actually mean? Well, it means your CAMO, your Continuing Airworthiness Management Organization, has to officially bake all these new tasks, all the new thresholds and intervals from the variation right, into your approved AMP. This is what makes these safety updates a permanent official part of how you maintain your aircraft for the rest of its life.
Okay, so we know the what. Let's zoom out a bit and look at the so what, the real-world impact this directive has on both your safety culture and your daily operations.
When you lay it out like this, it's pretty black and white. On one hand, you could stick with the old instructions and risk a hidden problem growing worse. Or you comply with the AD. This directly tackles that risk by making sure the latest, regulator-approved safety checks are being done, which is fundamental to keeping the aircraft airworthy.
So if you're in management, listen up. These are the big picture takeaways for you. That before next flight rule, that creates a very real possibility of unscheduled downtime, maybe even an AOG situation. This means your technical, planning, and maintenance teams have to be perfectly in sync. That A&P revision, it's not just another task, it's a full-on project with a strict deadline. And at the end of the day, being compliant is essential for your license to operate and for things like aircraft leasing agreements.
All right, let's wrap this up and put a bow on it with a final summary. These are the key things you need to take away and put into action.
So after going through all of that, what are the key things you absolutely have to remember from this directive? Let's boil it all down to one final, easy-to-follow checklist. Think of this as your compliance checklist. Who's affected? Every single operator of the A340-200 and 300 series. What do? Two big things. Get the new maintenance tasks done from the variation document and officially revise your aircraft maintenance program. When? The tasks have their own deadlines found in the document, and the A&P revision has to be done within 12 months. And the most critical point for your daily operations, any finding, any discrepancy, has to be fixed before that plane is allowed to fly again.
And one last, very important thing to keep in mind. While this explainer gives you a solid overview, it is absolutely vital that your teams work together and always use the official EASA AD text and the Airbus documents it references as the final word for any compliance action.
Subscribe to AEROPODA YouTube channel.